Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special Halloween episode of Analyzing Penis, featuring the characters and themes of a Serbian film, considered by many to be the most disturbing and depraved film of all time. A Serbian film features several men doing things with their penis that no man should ever do with his penis. But you know what? If you find yourself bored and looking for something to do with your penis, you can always have sex with a fake vagina. And that's why this episode of Analyzing Penis is sponsored by Fleshlight. Thank you, Fleshlight, for sponsoring this video. Now, without further ado, let's begin. In Serbia, Milos is a semi-retired porn star living as a family man with his wife Maria and his son Petar. Though he is semi-retired, it's very clear that Milos misses his old career. However, based on the clues we're given in the beginning of this film, I posit that it is not necessarily the sex that Milos misses, but the career itself. I say this because Milos has his old porn videos in a cabinet and watches them as a form of entertainment, not even bothering to masturbate to them, instead, calmly drinking his rye while watching himself with nothing short of a dead-eyed stare. This indicates that a part of Milos would rather be doing something else. Even the sex he has with his wife is rough, even bordering on violent. But, more importantly, passionless, as if he is fucking just because it is something his body is telling him to do, the way one would take a shit. He isn't fucking her because he wants to fuck her. He's fucking her because he just needs to fuck something. Both Milos and Maria also do a poor job of protecting their son Petar from Milos's former career, as it is made clear from the opening of the film how easy it is for their young son to get a hold of his father's porn tapes, and neither parent is quite as aghast as one would or should be when they encounter their child witnessing something of this nature. Milos is certainly allowed to keep memorabilia of his career in his home, but perhaps it would be wiser to keep such things under lock and key where their son can't watch them. This lack of care shows that this couple is fully aware of Milos's past career and embraces it, though they embrace it to an extent that seems to permeate their lives more than porn should permeate a normal marriage. Their lack of sensitivity to this only fails to protect their family as the film goes on. As I've said, Milos is only semi-retired. The family survives on a combination of Maria's translation job and Milos coming out of retirement occasionally to do porn. However, when a man named Vukmir offers Milos a job contract through a former coworker, Milos's interest is piqued. After meeting Vukmir in person, Milos reads through a contract. The biggest thing implied by this contract is that Milos will go into each shoot blind, not having a script of any kind, and will ad-lib his fucking. Milos reluctantly goes along with this, because the pay is so great that it will take care of their family until the end of Petar's life. Vukmir is an enormous fan of Milos. To him, Milos raises pornography to the level which he wishes to raise it to: art. He sees Milos as the main character in what turns out to be his sick, twisted vision of art. Milos begins to see that things are not completely above board when he starts working for Vukmir. There seems to be very real violence involved in the shoots he does, and much worse, there is a minor on set, which sets off Milos's red flag, though not as high as it should, for he does go back to work the next day instead of reporting this immediately to the police. But it's when Milos does try to quit that we begin to see the absolute depravity of Vukmir. It becomes clear in this scene that Vukmir is an artist driven mad by his art, and, after going on a tirade comparing his art to the victimhood of the Serbian people, a people which he considers to be constantly getting fucked themselves, he shows Milos a video of a newborn baby. And no, I did not say birth. This is Milos's breaking point, and he finally does something he should have done from day one: go to the authorities. However, as it turns out, he has been drugged with what could only be described as violently horny steroids. He blacks out and then roids out inside all manner of unwilling holes. During this drug-fueled stupor, Milos is blacked out for 3 days, and in almost no control of himself. Milos, then savagely kills her, gets by his co-star while he's and almost before jumping out a window. Vukmir's goons then find Milos casually dillying his own dally next to a dumpster before re-kidnapping him for his final Mr. DeMille-style close-up. Now, I haven't mentioned Milos's brother yet, but I think this is a good time to do so. Milos's brother Marco is a police officer. He is also a scumbag, a pervert, a hornball, and, unbeknownst to Milos, insanely jealous of him. It should be noted that a strong compulsive need to come runs in this family, as Marco, after simply seeing his brother's wife eat an apple, needs to immediately run into the bathroom and rub one out, or he'll fucking explode. In this way, he is similar to his brother, for although Milos is married and fucks for a living, he'd probably be doing something similar if he was single and not getting steady vag. Marco, however, takes it one step further by coveting his brother's wife, and, essentially, his life. He even looks at videos of Milos' family while getting head from a hooker. He, for all intents and purposes, wants to be Milos. Milos, trusting his brother, asks Marco to investigate Vukmir. Instead, in order to live the life he is jealous of Milos for having, Marco joins forces with Vukmir. The stage has been set for the most fucked up fuckfest of a fucked apart film that ever fucked. Milos kills Vukmir's doctor by making her so horny that she fucks herself to death. He then proceeds to two masked figures lying on a bed. Another masked figure, one of the figures beside him. They and until it's revealed that the masked figure next to him is his brother Marco. The woman Marco is Maria. And so, 3 guesses whose butthole Milos just the innocence out of. Despite being little more than a mindless fuck monkey at this point, enough of the situation makes it through Milos' head for him to realize what he's done. He and Maria turn on all of these wrongdoers, including Marco, Vukmir, and Raza, the baby, who Milos literally skullfucks to death. Remembering enough to find his wife and child, things are no longer the same for Milos, Maria, and Petar. They cannot live with the depravity which Milos' disgusting animal penis has caused them. And so, in an act of mercy, Milos ends the lives of himself and his family. However, the door which Milos opened remains open. As Vukmir had a film producer, and even in death, Milos' story arc is not quite finished, and he and his family would not be spared the degradation and humiliation of being violated by dicks. And so, at this end, what commentary is this film making on the topic of penis? I believe it asks the question, in what extreme ways could the depraved tendencies of our penis control our lives and create trouble for us in the worst way possible? And this question can be answered by examining the characters of Vukmir, Marco, Milos, and even Maria. Of course, the most obvious depravities in this film are Vukmir and Marco. Vukmir is a man who conflagrated his penal desires with art. Now, under normal circumstances, there is nothing wrong with this, as porn can certainly be considered an art form. However, Vukmir's version of art delved into sexual topics that are rightfully taboo and illegal, and for that, he was killed by his art, although it should be noted that he valued this art so much that he did not seem to mind. Marco's penis was the covetous penis. Marco was a man who so badly wanted to have his brother's life and dick that he betrayed his brother to Vukmir in order to get a taste of that life. Though it should be noted that Marco's penis had the power all along, and if he had just wanted his own version of that sort of life, he certainly could have taken steps to make it happen. If a beautiful woman would marry a man whose job is to fuck other women, then surely another beautiful woman would marry a police officer, even a corrupt one, because that career has significantly more security. And lastly, we have Milos, and, to a lesser degree, Maria. Though Milos is the least of these 3 main penal sinners, his obsession with his own penis and the legacy it carved out for him, and inability to do anything other than use it, caused him to take steps that ensured the rest of the events in this film would unfold. And his wife, Maria, enabled his penis's bad behavior, as at no point did she dissuade her husband from following his dick into the darkest corners of the adult film industry, nor did she even scold him for his own self-obsessive acts of watching his own porn while they were spending intimate moments in bed together, or even for his habit of leaving porn around the house for their young son to find. Porn, by the way, starring his father. So although this family did not deserve any of the penal machinations that happened to them, this was the ultimate end they were going to have, due to Milos and Maria's inability to just say no to the disgusting, vile, and degrading exploitation of Milos' penis. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Analyzing Penis, and I hope you've enjoyed. What are your thoughts on a Serbian film? Did I miss anything? Let me know down below, and leave a suggestion for a penis you'd like to see featured in a future episode while you're at it. If you like this video, be sure to click the subscribe button. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon.